So let's start the Desert Healthcare District Finance, Legal, Administrative, and Real Estate Committee meeting, December 9th at 2 p.m. We'll call for order. Approval of the agenda.
So moved.
I'll second that. Meeting minutes are here and available for review online. If you have any questions about that,
I want to say all those in favor.
do we have to?
We have to get the vote.
Aren't you the vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Part of the committee rule.
I know.
We'll go to Jessica to ask them what she thinks about it. Meeting minutes from last meeting are available for review. If there's any questions, we'll take those now. If not, I would ask for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second that, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. At this time, public comments from the audience may be made on items not listed on the agenda that are of public interest and within the subject matter's jurisdiction. Within the district, the committee has a policy of limiting speakers to not more than 3 minutes. The committee cannot take action on items not listed on the agenda. Public input may be offered on an agenda item when it comes up for discussion and or action. Are there any public comments?
No public comment.
Over to the Chief Executive Officer report, Chris.
The only item we have under CEO report is we have Keith Scribbling here to give an update on our third quarter ending investment reports for both the reserve account and the RBP account. If it were in.
All right, do you have it, or does anyone have a copy?
sure.
I don't care if you have it up.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Let me pull it up. Let's see. Oops, wrong one.
You don't want it.
Okay. You're right. So anything, if you wanna
Yeah,
go
we can
through?
start on this performance page of the retirement plan, and then we'll,
This is for the employee return.
so one, employee retirement plan, and we also have the fixed income account.
Okay,
Yeah, But
That's fine.
that's.
I
pretty
just make sure
simple.
they're both things.
And then we'll just talk about the economy and positioning, and
Correct, yeah.
I won't take too much time.
Well, you're fine.
So I'm on the correct.
Yeah, go on down a couple more,
Okay, I don't
right
know,
there, that's good.
right here,
All right, that's the retirement plan, yes.
okay.
So it's been a good,
That's sure.
it's been a great period for risk assets for some time now. For the quarter, portfolio was up 4.85%, a little below the benchmark. That was the under benchmark performance was just a couple of active funds that didn't do as well as they should have. But year to date, up 12.5% ahead of benchmark. Compounding at 8 to 9%, and over the longer 7 and 10 year periods, portfolio's doing great.
This is the target.
Uh,
Target return.
So I believe this, most retirement plans, or like if I were to say CalPERS, it's 6.85%.
What's ours?
Yours doesn't necessarily have a stated return target, it just has a risk profile.
Got it.
So, but so if 685 is what the public agency retirement system is
Yeah.
for everywhere, most plans are somewhere between 685 and 7.25. Or if they use.
Like a baseball player's average is like, I'm trying not to strike out, not that I'm trying to get a hit. I'd like to know, like, if we have a pot, goal that we're working towards. Maybe that's not typical, but it's always nice to know, like, are you trying to target? Like, when do you know you're gonna make an adjustment if you're a manager?
So this is not a defined benefit plan, right?
But somebody's deciding what we tuck into all these domestic equity index funds.
Right.
Right, and they don't get to, do they get to individually pick these plans, pick which ones they want or not?
No, this is not a
Right, so
401k.
what's the goal that's driving the person who's picking these?
That would be me.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was talking to you in third person.
Yes, so my goal is to outperform that blended benchmark.
So you do have a goal.
So I do have a goal, yes.
And
But
it's
the
not
goal
just to avoid
isn't-
strikeouts,
isn't a-
it's to
Isn't necessarily a rate of return, it's a relative number, relative to the benchmark, it's good or bad. Does that make sense?
Sort of. Yeah.
But like the market could be down 20%, if we were down 15, that would in strange way to do
Correct,
it. Right.
correct, yeah.
So, right. That's kind of where we are. But, you know, if you look at, defined benefit pension plans have actual stated
We
return.
do, that's what I was asking.
Right, yeah, so that's why I was.
I know it's over long-term blended averages of fine, but I think if you're hitting, looks like 6 to 8% is probably pretty.
Yeah, so I don't
fair.
know what went on way back when, but you know, I've been your portfolio manager for maybe 7 or 8 years,
You know, it's just taken off since you've been here.
so we're doing pretty good.
Good.
Yeah,
Well, the nice thing with this is that, you know, we've got, you know, $4 or $5 million in the account, and we've only got like 2.4 million of, employee,
obligations.
obligation,
Mhm.
thank you. So the principal balances to the recipients is, I mean, we're way ahead of what's in there
So it's,
owed to the
Yeah.
employees.
I mean, is this something that we should? I know we talked last time about moving that plan off of our books onto somebody else's books, but I think
That's in
it
process.
should be a priority.
So,
What's the timeline on doing something like that? Would they stay with you or do you, how does that happen?
are you talking about,
I just want to get these off our books. These people, they don't work for us anymore. We don't run the hospital. It's like
So
de-risk.
we're looking to see about transitioning the funds out to, because the way it is set up right now, the employees cannot take their distribution until they leave work at the hospital.
mhm,
So we have about half of the 100 people, they're still actively employed. The others are termed, but they haven't withdrawn their money or withdrew their money. So,
mhm.
so we're looking at a way then to be able to transition that out so that we're not responsible for it. So,
Yeah. You know, another thing you could consider doing is, when you have a plan this overfunded, you can just basically put it into, what we call LDI or, you know, basically long-term fixed income. And, you know, with interest rates having risen as much as they have, it basically takes the risk out of the portfolio because you're gonna be.
I don't mind the risk so much as more or less like, you know, these people don't work for us anymore. We don't have those type of employees. It would just be nice to do one less thing that we're distracting us a little bit talking about. I mean, like, can you move that over to somebody else? Here's the money. This is who you deal with now, because we're not
Mhm.
hiring new employees in this plan, right, Chris?
correct.
Yeah, so.
Yeah,
This
these
is
are employees of record when the lease started.
Yeah.
So,
So Chris did, Henry?
Your thoughts on it?
The board did make an action to formally move the account out of our accounts, right? To look for the other management company to take it over, right? It was an actual action item?
no,
No, it was just consensus?
no,
Okay.
we had just informed the committee
Mhm.
that we would like
Correct.
to pursue that. So
Okay,
we were in
haven't
process.
actually acted on it.
No, we haven't acted on it. We
Okay.
discussed it a couple months ago, 4 months ago, and we thought it was a good idea to move forward with that.
Okay,
I could add, I think what you may be thinking of, we had recently gotten board approval to switch the employee
Our
plan.
employees.
oh,
That
okay,
is in process at the end of the county year, so that's the.
okay, so
action.
one is the old employees and one is our current.
Yeah,
employees.
and we
Okay.
managed the current employee plan, and we made those changes, but these older ones, these kind of
And so this
legacy
one
employees.
is specific to the hospital
Okay.
employee.
I actually thought it was the opposite, that we had moved on the other one and that we hadn't acted on the current one, but okay, thank
Does
you.
tenant have a retirement plan? You could just not,
Sorry?
does tenant have a retirement plan? that
Sure.
These people could roll this one into their own retirement plan?
They probably will need to roll them into like an IRA account. Separate one, which is fine.
Is that something you guys set up for these people?
But
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll be working, the plan that we'll be working with will work. It's just, it's a little while.
Yeah.
And I just, I'll take responsibility because I'm a little behind on who I need to communicate.
That's fine.
with.
We'll just keep, I mean, if it takes a year to get it done, that'd be great.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I think we'll get it done in 6
Like I said,
months.
so I figure a year's fair, that's like 3% of the time.
I think we'll get it done within 6.
All right, you heard it 6 months, and then that's it. All right. What else you got for us?
Just quickly go to next performance page, which is a couple down, the next portfolio. So it'll say, you'll see a slide that says plan performance Desert Healthcare District.
Yep.
A little more, a little more. That was our benchmark, by the way.
Exceeded it.
Here we
There
go.
we go. Okay. This is the fixed income portfolio. It's $74 million. And you can see, I mean, it's all government treasuries, but year to date up a little over 4%, 1 year up 4%, compounding 4.5% over the last 3 years. So, you know, we had that stretch in there where there was no yield at all.
I know.
You
Now
can
we're-
see that in the 5-year number, but you know, we've got the portfolio reset and now it's benefiting from the rise in rates.
What are the term on those that you were buying?
So you're not allowed to go outside 5 years.
Oh,
So
really?
I've got it pushed out as far as I can.
As many as we can?
Yeah, I've got it basically, I
As
told you
as-
guys to lengthen the duration as much as possible, but since we're in a, you know, that way we can hold on to it as long as possible.
Take advantage of that
You
inflation?
know, the Fed's, you know, we'll talk about the economy real quick and, you know, the Fed and that, you know, that's part of it. If you want to go back to the colored slides. We can go to the one, factors to consider, quarterly market summary slide. You'll see one that looks like a golf fairway and it's the next one after that. There's the fairway up above.
Okay.
Okay, next one. Yeah, there we go. So continues to be a policy-driven market, trade, relationships and tariffs, deregulation, big beautiful bill and deportations all kind of at the head of the
You think
fiscal
tariffs-
policy.
You think tariffs helped or hurt? Based
So
on
I am not
performance.
a fan of tariffs
Yeah.
because I think they are a tax that eventually comes home. I think that the nature of how they have been implemented, we haven't really felt the effects of them yet because they're on again, off again. And it hasn't really been a policy that is clear. And I think in the short run, the exporters, the importers, the companies all are eating a little bit of it along the way. But the longer it goes on, the less likely they are to eat it and they may start passing on those costs and they're being challenged in the Supreme Court at the moment, and some of the conservative justices are not are leaning against them. And basically, the way they've been administered is through presidential executive order. And the Supreme Court justices are liking them similar to a tax and saying that the Congress has the tax authority, not the president. So I'm sure that the Trump administration has an answer for if they get stricken down in the Supreme Court, they'll pivot in another direction to keep them there. The big beautiful bill is this tax and spending bill. It's very stimulative to the economy. It's deficit spending. So that will help drive economic growth. Deregulation is stimulative. Deportations are a drag on the economy and potentially inflationary. You reduce the number of available workers, in theory, wages may rise. We have a strange situation with the unemployment rate where it's been very stable. And you've seen both a drop off in the demand for labor and the supply of available labor. You know, we have baby boomers retiring and deportations taking away the supply. So the unemployment rate's been stable, but the Fed's focus has kind of shifted a bit from inflation because they haven't really seen the inflation come through from the tariffs that they expected. And they're now more concerned about the health of the labor market. So they recently lowered interest rates, Fed funds rate, and they're likely to lower it again tomorrow. And we'll see what happens after that. We're going to get a new Fed chairman. He's clearly has to have a easy monetary policy bias, or he's not going to get nominated. So more to come on that. We had a government shutdown. The government shutdown meant that we don't have good statistics for the Fed right now, so they're kind of flying a little blind and just going off of what the past numbers and some outside numbers, but not from the BLS. In terms of the stock market, it's been a really great year. We had a small correction in AI stocks in the first half of November, but it pretty much recovered since then. There were some concerns over the valuations of AI companies and the circular nature of some of the AI deals, where you buy my AI chips and I'll buy your service, and we'll issue stock and pay for it with that. So there's some circular deals that have been going on in the AI area, and the combination of that and valuations got a little bit shaky in November, but then it recovered right away. Overall, the stock market's been strong based on a good economy, positive tailwinds from deregulation, investment. AI investment earnings are driving both corporate profits as well as market multiple, AI enthusiasm, and expectations for rate cuts. So all those things are supporting the stock market. In terms of if you go to the next slide. In terms of that's my fairway slide. So we're right down the middle of the fairway at the moment. So in terms of positioning, we are at the strategic asset allocation, 60-40 mix, balancing policy uncertainty and elevated valuations on the risk side, with good economy supporting company fundamentals, AI enthusiasm, and rate cuts on the positive side. So that's kind of where we are.
So you mentioned some of the points in the previous slide about the data coming out, the administration's efforts to portray the economy one way. Is there any concern about the data that is coming out that is going to get us in trouble because it's being propped up with toothpicks rather than real data?
Well, I think, right now the Fed's kind of relying on, say, for employment, the ADP report, which is, the company ADP has a lot of payroll information.
Right.
But they'll get back to their statistics pretty quickly. And, that was just a 40-day pause on data collection, so to say. And rather than just trying to churn out some number that maybe has no relevance. And also, recently Trump fired the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So you ended up with a new person running the organization at the same time that the government shut down. So that didn't seem like a good combination for trying to release data. So I think they'll get
So
back.
you're not.
I think, the Fed kind of has an idea what's going on. They're going to lower rates for sure tomorrow. I mean, it's like 99% chance. And then, it'll be more about what they say, how they are going into next year. We're also going to get a new Fed chairman next year. So there's some moving parts next year. But they'll get back to collecting their own data.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. Any questions on that?
So just to clarify that, with our conditions being what they are, we just reviewed that you have no plans to change any of our strategy, but we're going to continue that strategy.
So the retirement plan, staying with the 60-40 mix, yes. And the other one is dictated by government code. So we do what we can do within that spectrum.
What code is that? I know I asked before.
I don't know the name of the code. I
No,
just
just gotta
know
look it
that
up.
basically it's very limited in what you can do.
Strictly.
What's the government better? What would you look up to even find the code? What would you describe it as?
It's not addressed in our investment policy. It's not referenced in there.
I don't know.
I don't even know what it is.
I'll look and see.
If you
I
could just give me an idea of the code,
I'll send it to Chris.
you can email me, I'll give you my info, but yeah.
Yeah,
It'd be nice to know.
yeah,
We refer to it and it kind of.
yeah, exactly. No,
Yeah,
it's-
but I've been looking it up. I've been trying to Google it and search for it, and I
Yeah.
just can't get the right terms in to help me find the right.
Yeah,
policy.
yeah, okay.
I just wanted it to be in the minutes that we have no changes in our strategy. moving forward.
Yeah, and strategy will, notice it.
Thank you. Any public comments?
No public comment.
Motion to approve?
So this information.
Is it? Oh, it is. Good, we'll move forward then. CAO report.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, nice to see you. Yeah, nice to see everybody.
Happy holidays.
You too.
Merry Christmas.
All right, so we will start on page 42, the CAO report. Just make a note, we started work on a couple of the projects we talked about last month, such as the roof repair and the AC replacement. We are still 100% occupied the month of December, but we have received notice. Last month we had brought a lease for Dr. Mush with the Cohen Mush Thomas Medical Group. Received notice right after that was approved that we had actually made the challenging decision to not execute that lease. And they were going to go ahead and close up that practice. They have a couple practices around the area. So that they let us know that they would be closing that up as of December 31st. But we do have multiple interested parties, for the tenants already. And so we're starting to work with them to see if we can't negotiate a long-term lease on them, which was the ultimate goal for the space anyway. So
Did they share with you if there was some economic conditions that made it difficult for them to?
I think it's more about their partnership and the partners and
I think they're aging and some of them, at least what I was understanding, is some of the partners are probably not continuing. I think Dr. Mush was going to continue possibly on his own, but that's changed. Eric gets more of the detail, but it's different.
yeah, there's some of it where they, weren't trying to make the information public, so
Right.
there's a need to not share, they made that decision based on multiple factors to not continue. So unfortunately, that's the case, but we do a couple of we're working to jump in there, so we're already starting to try to ship that. And hopefully, we could bring something back in January. I just don't know quite yet, but we're trying to do what we can to minimize that downtime because we appreciate the 100% occupancy. I can answer any other questions you may have. That's anything for the medical plaza at the moment. Moving on to the financial statements, which begin on page 44. I'm going to note from page 45 here is the budget for the actual versus budget analysis. So right now, the investments are providing higher income than our budget. I know we've noted it previously, but just noting that we budget based on the average return for the last 5 years. Other income slightly higher than budget, and then expenses are generally under budget year to date. Most of these expense variances are acceptable and not specifically to note since the budget is applied across the fiscal year. So we're going to have different periods where we have greater expenses than not. The item where we have had some minor over budget items on the medical plaza side, just related to plumbing expenses, which we talked about last month. But overall, those are offset by other categories being under budget because the total expenses for the medical plaza are under 40,000 year to date. So doing good overall on that. I have a couple other notes throughout this packet, so please let me know if you have any specific questions, but that's kind of taking the same methodology.
Thought about the sponsorships. When I see that it's the actual and how much we budgeted, would it be possible to have in there as part of the explanation of what is the percentage of sponsorships that have been approved as compared to the ones that have been requested? Because it kind of shows more of what the ask is and what we have responded to.
Actually, I don't think we've declined any
So
sponsors.
that would be good to have in there that we have.
We're gonna have to eventually.
Yeah,
Eventually, word's gonna get out very quickly. And it's fine to do it, but there has to be, we talked about it when we first started to expand it, we needed pretty strict. More criteria around who we funded, who we don't. So when we do start to say no, or not that amount, this is why.
I think that information would be helpful to prospective applicants to know what is, that sponsorships that they are understanding the criteria and that they apply and that if they are applying within the criteria and that they are addressing all the questions, it is very likely that they would have, historically that we have funded, supported them.
Well, and I think, I mean, to that point, I think there, in my opinion, there's a little bit of a disconnect from what, because our policy essentially states that they need to align with our vision, mission, strategic plan, et cetera. But we have had history of providing sponsorships to events that really don't align. An example would be, the Filipino Food Festival, which, and I know we did it because we, felt we didn't want to, I guess for lack of better terms, discriminate against, certain classes of people, but, because that was one that I was promoting that we wouldn't support because it doesn't align with our policy description. But, and again, it's up to the board to approve or not. But I think that in answer to your question, are we going to follow our requirements of our policy? Or is the board going to continue to approve sponsorships that don't necessarily?
I think with the reason why I'm bringing this up is because sponsorships, it could be supporting our focus areas, but it also could be marketing and awareness. And I think that's why I was supportive of the Filipino event because of that reason. So what I was suggesting was if we were to include the percentage of approvals, it is again bringing attention to our public of how we have addressed the requests. It's again about that we, so long as the organizations are adhering to the rules, I just think it sends a message that we are very open and very historically have been very supportive of providing sponsorships because of different reasons. Every ask is different. But I just, I see that number and I say, oh, we have budgeted 104,000. And of course, you look at where we are in the year, and then, but I'm also thinking of what are the asks and what is the response to the ask, because we know that our community is seasonal, that you get a lot of asks, during the summer because it's going to be for fall events, and then you kind of during the holiday season it kind of goes down, and then. So I just was wondering what is our percentage, if that wouldn't be
Right
too much
right now,
trouble.
it's 100%.
Yeah, that would be great again to market it, that we are very, that the board has been very supportive of sponsorships because our effort to bring greater awareness and support causes that meet our criteria.
Mhm. Yeah, we've got, I think it's 5 that we're bringing to program committee tomorrow.
Mhm.
One of them is that CD Giving Day
Mhm.
that was presented a couple of months ago. And, it still has the flavor of passing monies through to other nonprofit organizations. However, we'd asked them to, if they could come up with some kind of like a marketing
Mhm.
type of program.
Yeah.
So that it's not just passing monies through.
Mhm.
So, so that will be part of their presentation then.
If it's I just think it might be worthwhile, but if my colleague doesn't agree, then I'll be okay with moving it forward. It's just trying to bring greater awareness of how the board is acting on some of these requests.
And what we'll be doing with, since we're bringing those to program committee now, we're including the policy first.
Mhm.
So that board members and the public are seeing what the policy is, and then,
We're
And have
educating our
that.
public.
As a reminder of what our policy is they're considering the sponsorship.
And so we could, we want
And the
to,
board will have those.
thank
We'd also make a note on this just for future budgeting elements. this particular year is the first full year we've had a sponsorship since it was allocated over the 12 months. With the changes that we had in the policy where we're gonna have the two different application periods, I'll be able to look at that once we get a little more history into it to see and not have it budgeted every month, so we'll have a little bit better gauge, because right now, 35,000 is only year to date where we're taking a snapshot where it might not align with the different schedules for the sponsorships.
Why does it
So,
say lower sponsorship expenses?
This means you're $35,000 under budget.
It's just,
yeah, we're just trying to
Budgeted
identify
ones.
what's the main reason in that GL line, and in here, there's only the one.
So it
line.
really is
So-
lower sponsorship requests.
Correct.
Yeah,
At this
300.
point, they're not denying
and the
35,000.
budget to date is just divided by 12 and
Yeah.
the number of months. So I
Yeah,
think what Eric
but,
is
yeah,
saying
just
is,
the word expenses, to me, was kind of, it's not accurate, but that's okay, but, if you could just look at it and see what you think about my idea to just identify what is the percentage of the requests
Sure.
that are approved.
Yeah. We'll look into it.
Thank you.
Good. The professional fees is our people for the strategic planning,
That's one of the elements
Cool.
that's
And then the
included in
other-
there.
and the other people, the consultants, and they're Larry and whoever else is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so different ones that we anticipated that the work may not have started or haven't gotten full.
Yeah,
Legal
we're not really under
expenses
budget,
in
we
there.
just haven't spent the money. Really, it's kind of like,
Yeah.
it's kind of AP that hasn't come in yet, so. Okay,
Yeah, if we knew specifically when all of that, I could budget or adjust the budget for the different months, but most of them we've done on an even basis.
we should expect to spend that money probably on everything.
I think we're gonna be under when it's all said and
Okay.
done, because we really beefed up that budget, because, you know. we
Oh, I
didn't-
know, they were looking at some expensive.
We
consultants.
didn't really know
Yeah.
what because when we did the budget back in May,
Yeah,
I'm trying to think, did we have,
I'm pulling it up
we,
right now.
we didn't have.
We
the
added-
actual- We didn't have the strategic planning deal
no, we didn't.
identified, so I think we actually included in this budget, the 700,000.
Yeah.
Because we did have
So I thought.
other ones
that's what I remember.
that, from the other organizations, so.
700 for strategic planning.
And so our strategic planning expense is gonna be 300,000 plus expenses. And
Right. All right, well, my next focus is a little bit farther in, so if there's any other reports that you do have questions, please let me know.
Yeah.
But this really is the summary of all. But the next element I was gonna note is on page 51. Just a quick note here, in the 1204.1 rent receivable deferred COVID, just noting that that particular element is zero. When COVID first started, we did allow on a case-by-case basis if tenants were asking for, what could be done when they weren't getting any income. We did allow those who asked to defer their rent over the remainder of their lease. And most of those were resolved in the first couple of years, but a couple of those longer-term leases, I think as of September, was finally paid off. I just wanted to make note, if you're looking at the comparisons from this year to last year, that particular item will be dropping off in the near futures. I'll think about a year, I guess, so.
Mhm.
But,
Do you remember what it was initially? Was it close to 200,000?
Wow, that was
Huh?
that was a lot.
It was a lot, but maybe 100 and over 100,000. I don't remember the exact number.
Just a second. I can let you know.
I mean, it doesn't really matter, but
Yeah, between the two, it was a total of 209,150 in rent and about 58 in cams.
and what I like is that it actually worked out very
Mhm.
well, that, they,
We were very
and
responsive.
we set it up to
Mhm.
where it could be amortized over the remainder of their lease period, so it worked out well.
Thank you. So yeah, that was on the balance sheet. A lot of it's just our normal
Mhm.
processes, but that was a change that's on there. The next item I was going to point out was on page 59. This has to do with our property tax revenue. Just just noting that while we've generally been above our budget, this particular one showing us under budget by about 46,000. It just has to do with timing. Right now, we are expecting the month of December is when we get the first of our bigger payments, and so we'll have that coming in. But we try to use when we've received things historically to plan the budget for the month, and sometimes those payments can be received one month or fall into the next month here. So I just wanted to highlight that since we've typically been reporting about being over budget. This isn't something to be of concern. It just happens to be that we didn't receive what we thought we would in November, but December should be one of our better months. So usually it's December and January December and June are the two big ones here. And then the last thing I was going to note is on page 68, which is retirement protection plans. So we did not process any requests in November, but we have had a good handful of ones get either asked for or in process for this month, probably due to the end of the calendar year. But we've got one already that's been submitted and a couple of that we could see for this month. So at least that's moving in the right direction.
Let's get a plan, maybe, February you think, for how we're gonna move these people? At least a general plan,
I
and then,
think they'll have an idea that we'd be bringing to the finance committee.
yeah, just something we can discuss here, work on it. And then- Look, we can keep going.
Those are the specific notes I had for the financials.
Yeah.
It was noted that we're breaking at 3:39 PM,
Oh, yeah, yeah, sorry.
since we don't have a quorum. Dr. Princess?
And we've already received a proposal from the actuarial firm that we use.
Let's
But
just, we'll
We'll
decide,
need
yeah,
to get
that's all.
a
See if it's better.
event.
Maybe we could give them
So
to
there's,
Santa Flu. We could-
More of retirement council might have that are used in the past.
Are we
I need
just
to
going
reach
with
out
one
to
or are you
them.
gonna do it?
Alright, so we'll make a time decision, so we're gonna keep
Um,
going, Thursday he
I
looks
think
for.
I'd like to go with
Or we have.
them, since they
Things like
got
that.
the experience
That's
of
what I
it.
will see.
And it
Thanks,
is,
thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
and there's, Mitch.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we're familiar with the plans and
That, Any other questions
No.
on financials?
I'll move approval of the financial reports.
I'll second it, ask for public comment,
No public comment.
seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Other matters, we're bringing up the Regional Service Authority agreement. We discussed it last time, I think, in the meeting about getting a compensation study. We reviewed this before. You remember reviewing it, and we said, well, maybe we'll hold off, so it's
Yeah.
kind of expensive, but now we're at the point where I think we need to get a baseline of it. We're going into strategic planning. We're gonna get maybe the need to hire more people, and I think getting a good idea of what's gonna be required in the public sector to hire people makes sense. I still think it's expensive for 37,000, but maybe we just budget for that and it's less. We'll have to see how the billing comes in, but I think it'll be important to look at how the public sector and the private sector compare on hiring people, because we're gonna need to hire staff for maybe other positions as we grow.
Yeah, and this is expected to,
87. Oh, sorry, this was the,
87 is the
Increase.
total not to exceed.
yeah,
That includes the standard
37 is just.
consulting services, 37 increases for.
yeah, it's an increase, so it's above, but yes, you're right. Yes. But yeah, the 37 is, so.
And they're anticipating this to take potentially up to 20 weeks. So
Well, I'd like to,
I think the timing is good because then it's closer to the end of our strategic planning. And then we have a good basis in there for not only current staffing, but also for as we look to hire, so.
So the question that Director Logston brought up about that, he thought that it was a little bit higher than he would have thought. You have had comparisons with other firms to be able to feel comfortable with this.
We haven't received the actual proposal.
Mhm.
And we can do that. We just felt it important to keep it continuity with our HR consulting firm on this.
Do you think there's a benefit to having it all one HR consultant? Because there's, they're familiar with it by the time they're going into it, but there's also a benefit to having somebody that that would be cost savings, that wouldn't be as much. And that also having it from two different viewpoints, two perspectives.
I think the only reason to do it is to keep them honest. It's like any contractor, like if you keep giving them repeat business, they keep marking up the bill. Like you get a general contractor does the same thing. So, I think.
And we can look to get a couple of other quotes.
I think so, feel more
Sure.
comfortable with that.
I don't disagree with that. And if it doesn't take, we don't want to wait 10 weeks to get 3 more quotes in.
No,
We want a pretty quick deadline. It's,
I think we can do it.
yeah, I think we could, don't know if we'd have it by January, but I think by February.
I don't think that's a bad idea from a public idea, just to make sure we're not handing out business and all that. But I think it's probably a little high, but overall, depending on how extensive it is.
I move that we continue it to allow staff to provide additional information on costs.
I'll second that. All right. Any public comment?
Yeah,
No.
just Scope and cost.
All in
will
favor?
be-
Aye.
Any committee member comments? Okay, move to adjourn. Okay. We're gonna open up the Desert Healthcare Foundation meeting now for the Finance Legal Administrative Team. It is 12/9/25 at 15:44.